formula. Sometimes they're taking your cream because you've taken them off the boobs, right? So they don't do a lot of pressing with the boobs. So there's this container, with your moisturizer, and the container is just so feels like the boobs, and they just want to hold on to it and feel the pressing, and there's something coming out of it that looks like the nipple, and they think, this thing coming out of this thing that looks like a nipple should go right into my mouth, and then they put the moisturizer in your mouth and stuff like that. So are there particular signs and symptoms, just like you said, that one of the things that poison actually affects is the nervous system? Is there a way that I can actually know? Because it's possible that as a mother, I don't know what my child is ingesting, and the reaction starts maybe 30 minutes after, or minutes before I walk in, the thing happened. Are there things that I should be able to see my baby to know, oh my goodness, this child has taken or done something? We have a call?
Yes,
okay, let's take this call.
Hello, good morning. Good morning, welcome to the show. What's your name and where are you calling us from? Did you say Eugene?
Ufini.
Ufini.
Okay,
All right,
Ufini, talk to us. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Fini, for the question. So it's actually chlorine that they use to purify pure water. So usually it's a very specific concentration. However, and the concentration that is recommended, and I certainly hope that manufacturers of pure water actually use that recommended concentration. It's a concentration that is enough to kill harmful germs in the water, but it's not so much as to cause harm to the people
body
consuming the water. However, bleach is hypochlorite that is very concentrated. So the concentration of bleach is about 3.5% chlorine. 3.5% chlorine is corrosive to your internal environment. So simply, as a matter of fact, I don't know if you do this, and I have to call the branding because it's probably the most popular brand. It's Milton tablets, very popular with mothers. So it's actually a chlorine-based sort of disinfectant, such that after you've washed your feeding bottles and stuff, and you put that chlorine tablet into a specific amount of water, it actually kills the germs and keeps the material sterile, and it's actually safe, to when you make your baby's milk in it. So Ufini, don't be concerned. I certainly hope that the manufacturers of the pure water are doing the concentration that it ought to be. So no, it's not harmful to you. It's chlorine, the concentration that is required, to kill germs in the pure water, but not harmful enough to actually cause harm to you. But bleach, too concentrated. That's
okay,
it.
amazing. So yes, while Ufini is actually right, that chlorine is a level of a bleaching agent.
It is.
Yeah, the concentration is not enough to actually harm us or our children.
Exactly.
Yeah, because for those of us, you know how that happens, right? You have different points of water in the house. There's dispenser. There's that one that they like, because it's not stop and warning. So, and then before the water has finished, and then you don't have to find the solution. So yes,
exactly.
Our pure water is safe, but God help us, because there's pure water and there's pure water. Okay, so we're asking about signs and symptoms. There's another call.
No, we lost it.
Okay, but please do try to call us back. It's 0700-923-923-923. Accidental poisoning. There are lots of things in our homes that we have absolutely no idea that are very injurious and dangerous, to our children's health, even to us as well. But the children's system, it's developing, and being that poisoning affects the nervous system, it's just not the way to go.
It's not the way to go
at all. What should we look out for?
So symptoms, will I call it good news? The good news is that for most children, they will not have any symptoms because, quite frankly, they take in just a very tiny amount. Because, quite frankly, a lot of these poisons don't taste very good, and so the moment they put it in their mouth, they're like, unless there are these children that they don't just say anything that enters their mouth, they swallow. There's nothing that goes into their mouth that can come out. So those sorts of children, but most children will just take a very tiny quantity and so they won't have any symptoms. However, if children are going...
You mentioned ibuprofen that tastes like strawberry. There are some of these poisons that are actually sweet and they take so much of it.
Cool.
Let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello?
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir. What's your name, please?
Very well, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Odum. Very well, thank you. My people are calling me.
I'm happy for you.
Thank you very much. Oh dear.
Because I have a baby now who's roughly about 9 months. I just had this issue of milking and all that, so I make sure even after the milking, I try to
rinse it out. Interesting.
It's never enough when it comes to our children. Yeah. Oh,
Thank
it's
you
okay.
so much.
Thank you very
It's
much.
a family radio station.
Thank you so much. Yes, thank you so much. Actually, thank you for calling. You actually don't need to rinse out the
Milton, because that's supposed to be the safest thing, right?
It's supposed to be the safest thing. So just shake off the excess Milton water.
So whatever that is left, the little bubbles here and there,
yes,
it's safe to go ahead and make the food.
Yes, it's safe.
Look at protection. So you put the safe thing, and you just think, no, please, there's some level of chemical. Let me
You can never go wrong with water.
I'm telling you, you can never go wrong with water, but man, clean water is what we're coming for. I gave you the scenario of some drugs.
Yes, being very
cough
tasty.
medicines, for instance. I mean,
yes. So, but as I said, those ones, they are not the majority, fortunately. But so here's the deal. So most children that will have symptoms will have things like vomiting.
Okay.
Those that can complain about symptoms will have things like abdominal pain, and then vomiting. If it's an organ or if it's a drug that's going to affect things like the nervous system, usually symptoms might develop a few hours later. So things like sniper. I think that's probably the most commonly ingested poison that can actually affect the nervous system. So if a child ingests things like sniper, please take to the hospital immediately. Don't wait for the symptoms to appear, because they will have to observe the child in the hospital for a few hours to make sure that nothing goes wrong before they discharge. That being said, so common things are things like vomiting, so immediate symptoms that can happen with things like abdominal pain, vomiting. Things that might be a little bit delayed will be things like convulsions, yellowness of the eyes, liver damage. Liver damage can manifest as yellowness of the eyes. They can even actually lose consciousness and have things like reduced urine output from renal failure. So some of these drugs like ibuprofen, which is what we use for fever and pain, can actually knock out the kidneys, depending on how much is ingested. And so that will manifest as, the child stops making urine, the child might become unconscious, might start to have convulsions. But that doesn't happen immediately. That might happen a few hours, sometimes even a few days after the ingestion. So please, if a child ingests something that is poisonous, don't assume that because in the first 24 hours nothing happens, that you are completely out of the woods. Sometimes effects can be delayed for up to 72 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
Speaking of poison, what do you think about still foods? By still foods, I mean foods that are made inside a bottle. They fit the child, and the child doesn't quite eat, or maybe they eat half of the bottle, and they think, this food is so expensive, and so I have to keep it. You must finish this food. I cannot waste this food.
So they keep it in the
And
fridge?
so they keep it in the bag, like probably maybe to church, after church meetings, and before the baby gets to eat it again, you bring it out. First of all, it's smelling. Yeah. But you say, I bought this tea, very expensive. I cannot throw this food. I don't have money. You must finish this food. What do you say to
That
what are the harmful
one is not
effects?
accidental poison again. That one is Non-acts, that one is deliberate.
That one has become
Deliberate poisoning. Because I mean, if the food are started to go off, because there are actually, rules.
But mothers need to know the harmful effect of doing that, because a lot of people do it. Because once the food comes out, you can perceive the staleness. It might have gone bad, but the baby needs fresh food. For goodness.
I agree that even though that doesn't really classify, in terms of when you're talking about poisoning, it doesn't really classify as poisoning, but when it can lead to food poisoning, which is another topic that we'll have to discuss, on an entirely different day, because that's quite common. So please, any food that, has started to, as a matter of fact, the common culprits for food going off, sorry?
Is there a time frame?
Yeah.
So different foods, different time frames. So things like fried rice that has all the condiments, shrimp, liver.
I don't know about fruits in bottles. Feeding bottles.
Feeding bottles, like what, like pap or like
cereals, cereals. Yeah.
So as a matter of fact, please let me just state it here. Please never, not never, but you should. It's strongly discouraged that you give your baby cereal inside feeding bottles. Cereals are supposed to be semi-solid, such that the consistency should not be able to pass through the teeth, through the holes of a feeding bottle. So if you're able to feed your child cereal to the feeding bottle, it means that you've made the cereal to be too light. And so never give a child.
They open the nipples of the bottle.
I don't understand again. The manufacturer has opened the teeth of the bottle to a certain level, and then you decide to go and get scissors or razor blade to go and open it further.
Just to make sure that the baby eats Dr. Rana.
Oh.
That's the end. That's the end.
And
You
then
ask me to what end.
And then you roll your mouth.
That's the end and the purpose. I mean, this baby, it's difficult for the baby to transit from, doing the whole sucking on a very soft
This is
surface
what they were singing about.
to chewing.
Make sound with the
Oh my goodness, it's 25 minutes gone past the hour of 11. I guess we're going to take a break now. You've been listening to... Goodness me, there's so many shows on tea break. Your Baby and You. It's not Naija that was in my head. I'm a Nigerian girl. Yeah, so it's Your Baby and You. We're talking you and your baby, you and your baby. And what about you and your baby today? Accidental poisoning. Have you been a victim? It's okay to let us know how that actually went down, just so that some other mother or father out there does not, make the same mistake that you made. It could have happened with anything at all. It could have happened at any time at all. But we'd really love to hear your story. And if you have some fears or concern, like the very valid one raised by the guy from Lekki Phase 2, I really love that question. Please come through. The number is 0700 923 923 923. On WhatsApp, you can reach us. It's available. We'll read out your question, your messages, or contribution. The number is 0817 313-6193. My name is Thelma Ilams.
And my name is Akiolu Akinele.
Dr. Renner is our consultant pediatrician in the house.
A big shout out to all the caregivers right here on your number one family radio, Inspiration 92.3 FM. A big shout out to all, we call them constituency
members.
Constituency carers. So the local government chairman and women.
Well, it is very interesting. So actually, those ones, they are the workers for the constituency members.
They are the staff.
They are the staff. Oh.
I love it.
They are the staff.
It's Inspiration 92.3 FM, your number one family radio. Welcome back to the show. If you're just joining us, this is Your Baby and You, and this is the Tea Break. My name is Akiolu Akindele. Thelma is somewhere. Should be here. So she has to go sort some things out. And we have a resource person in the house, in the person of Dr. Ayo Renner. And we've been talking accidental poisoning at home. And you can be a part of the conversation. The number to call is 0700 923 923 923, or you can send us a WhatsApp message on 0817 313 6193. You can call us on 0700 923 923 923, or you can send us a WhatsApp message on 0817 313 6193. Have you accidentally poisoned your child before? Were you accidentally poisoned as a child? Let us know. I mean, there's no judgment here. We all need to learn and do.
I think that most of the time the children or wards are the ones largely responsible. However, like the scenario that you painted of a mother who just genuinely wanted to take out lice from her child's head, and for some reason she just thought that sniper is the way to go. The things that sniper has damaged, I can't even begin to mention. But what I want to touch on now are the seeming drastic measures that we take to as parents as a result of the panic when we realize that our children, have, taken a substance that is not supposed to have been ingested. And then you have people who would dip their hands into the child's mouth so that the child gets nauseous and then throw it up. You have persons who say palm oil is a base for, I'm not sure what base it is for.
Everything.
What do you think about that?
Okay, so good question. I mean, I was going to touch on it that really there are a lot of things that we do as parents, as caregivers, as people in the area. When you say that, this person has swallowed this thing, from drinking milk to drinking palm oil to trying to make the person vomit to anointed oil. Let's not forget that ever present, ever readily available olive oil. So those things that we do in panic to actually offer first aid can actually be quite harmful. And second, in the process of vomiting, some of them, especially the younger infants, might have what you call aspiration. So as you are trying to bring up the vomitors or the liquid that is coming out of their stomach is going to go into their airway and it's going to get into their lungs. So what was just initially a straightforward poisoning now becomes what we call a pneumonitis, such that the lungs now gets gastric fluid, that's the fluid from the tummy, palm oil, and the poison
that is a
into the lungs.
complication.
Disastrous complication. And some of these children actually go on to require ventilation and ICU. And there are not very many ICU spaces, even in the best of centers. And you know how much, of course, one needs to pay to get into the ICU. So so inducing vomiting in the child is something that is strongly discouraged. However, things that can be done when that happens, even milk too. Giving milk really also is not really a viable solution. Milk is not going to do very much. I know a lot of people think, milk is going to neutralize, certain things. I do know that, for the people who are very experienced in the consumption of alcohol, they say that if you drink milk before you take alcohol,
it will not affect you.
It will affect you less because milk will prevent, please don't go and follow this kind of advice. Milk will prevent the absorption of the alcohol, So I think that's, for some people, is the rationale why they say, okay, if there's a poison, drink milk. But it doesn't happen. The milk really, if a milk is going to prevent the absorption of anything, the milk should have been consumed before the thing is consumed, so that sort of thing. Not after the thing has finally got into beta state inside the tummy, then you're now consuming milk to do what? So, if a child has consumed the substance, first of all, take the bottle, note what it is, take the bottle of the container to the hospital so that they know exactly what chemical or what substance it is. At home, if the child has, if it's something like bleach or something like sniper, please rinse or wash the substance off the person as much as possible. Just don't rub it down. Just rinse the person down, because sometimes in the process of rubbing the skin, what you can do is spread the poison. Like, for instance, sniper can be absorbed through the skin, so you don't need to drink sniper for it to poison you. All you need is sniper on your skin and in a significant quantity for you to actually, get poisoned. Yes. So don't rub. Just allow water to just pour on the child so that you can wash off as much as possible and then take to the hospital. Some people talk about activated charcoal at home. And with activated charcoal, you need to know what dose is to be administered. And for a lot of people, you don't know what the dose is. So please, don't give activated charcoal at home. Get to the hospital and you'll be administered. So the general with poisoning is that, first of all, don't panic, don't administer anything, don't induce vomiting, and really the first aid that you can be offered is at the hospital. And please go to the nearest hospital first before you go to the hospital in Mowe where they circumcise the child.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Rena. We have to go now. Do you have any last words concerning accidental poisoning?
Well, concerning accidental poisoning, please keep all things out of reach of children. I know, despite your best efforts, children are very smart and children are very curious, and their mouth is part of what they use to explore the world. But as much as possible, keep all things that are not food, even some food safe, keep all things that are dangerous out of reach of children as much as possible. I'll be praying for you to make sure that happens.
Amen.
All right.